If you're feeling like 2024 disgraced you, you didn't accomplish any of your goals, you're feeling bummy. 2024 was not your year. 2024 was not it. This video is for you. I have notes. I make notes because this has been a very important topic to me. I've been thinking about it a lot over like the past quarter, mainly. I think when winter arc started, that's when I started thinking about this. Just preparing for 2025 and what that's going to look like for me. Anyway, preparing for 2025, what that is gonna look like for me. So I do have notes. If you catch me glancing down, that's probably what it is. I want to talk about the 5 things that you can do, or the 5 things that you probably should do to prepare for your 2025. But I want to talk about that while doing my makeup, but that also seems like it's going to be distracting. So I'm gonna go through it first without my makeup and then refilm it with my makeup and then go whichever one works. 5 things you need to know, 5 things you should know, 5 things you need to hear to prepare for your 2025. The first thing is going to feel redundant, but I need you to do this. You need to rewrite your goals. Rewrite the goals, even if it's the same thing that you're carrying forward, whether it's a new vision board that you need to create or a new pen and paper that you need to take out, rewrite the same goals that you didn't accomplish in 2024. Just rewrite them. I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's so many studies that show that when you write down your goals, you're more likely to accomplish them. Now, I know you're wondering, well, I wrote them down the first time and I didn't accomplish them. You have a new mindset now. That's why you're watching this video. So write down your goals. Now, the second thing I'm gonna need you to do is reflect on your goals. Don't just think about them in your head. Write this down on a piece of paper if you need to. Think about the goals that you had last year, the one that you just wrote down from step 1. Now reflect on what you did well on and what you didn't do good on. The goals that you accomplished in 2024 and the goals that you didn't accomplish in 2024. Now, if you didn't accomplish anything in 2024, still reflect on it. But I can guarantee you there's something that you wanted to do in 2024 that you must have done, even if you didn't set it up as a goal. But reflect on it. For me, I'm gonna use myself as an example, i.e. because I'm the only goals I know. But for me, there were certain goals that I accomplished that as I have reflected on them, there were certain goals I accomplished that I realized I was able to accomplish them because I was very specific with them. Time was of the essence, deadline that I needed to complete these goals. So that probably also pushed me to do it. And then the things that weren't accomplished, because as I reflect, I'm like, not that it wasn't valid enough, but it wasn't strong enough. My why could waver any moment. My why, I wanted to get these things done, changed based on my mood, changed based on how I felt. Whereas the things that I did accomplish, I did them and they were great, but my why was different. My why was motivated, 1, by a bigger purpose, and 2, by a time constraint. So those were the things that I was able to consider. So think about your goals, think about what you were able to do, and think about what you weren't able to do, and think about why you were able to do them and why you were not able to do them. Now, one of my biggest goals was to lose weight. And I kind of struggle with this because I don't know if I did it or didn't do it, because I did it and then I gained it back. So in my head, I didn't do it. But to me, it wasn't just the weight loss, it was sustainable weight loss. And I feel like that's where I failed, whereas I'm able to hit things when there's a time constraint, but I'm not able to sustain certain things. So when I was reflecting on this, that was one of the things that I clocked about myself. When you're able to set down goals for yourself, you're able to write it down, you're able to be specific, be measurable, to have it be all these SMART goals, you're able to accomplish them, but you're not able to sustain them, not able to keep it up. So that's why I need you to reflect on your goals, reflect on why you weren't able to accomplish it. And I feel like that's gonna really help guide you in the next step. Another thing is when you understand your why in your reflection and you come up with your why, it's going to be much difficult for you to waver next time. So now that I realize, not just in this goal, but in other goals that I didn't accomplish, another of it was a debt recovery plan that I had scheduled for myself, which I spent more than I ever have in this year on nonsense, which tells me I didn't accomplish the goal. My why for that, again, was impulsive decision making, not being able to say no to myself temporarily. These are all things that I'm reflecting on. I'm thinking, my gosh, I didn't think about it during this time. I didn't even think about it when I was writing the goal down the first time. But as I'm reflecting, I'm seeing all these things that were, I guess, little action points or little things that I need to improve on that will help me achieve my goal in the long run. This House Labs concealer is so good. I've only used it one and I need to focus because this is not about House Lab. Another thing I want you to do after you've reflected on yourself is to forgive yourself. Now, I am a firm believer in sitting down, feeling your feelings, dwelling until you don't need to dwell anymore. Not dwelling in a bad way. I feel like there's a negative connotation to dwelling, but sitting your feelings, feeling your feelings, and then working through them and move on. However, there comes a time where when you're in your feelings, for too long, it becomes counterproductive. You don't want to sit there and dwell on what could have, because time is still gonna pass. It really is. You could just either, I don't want to use the word move on, but you can work towards moving on. I don't want it to be this flippant thing where it's like, get over it. But you can seriously work towards processing what you're feeling and moving on, or you can just sit there and dwell forever and ever and ever and ever. Either way, it's 5 o'clock now, it's going to be 6 o'clock, it's going to be 7 o'clock. At the end of the day will come to an end. That's really it. So forgive yourself, feel your feelings, dwell, reflect, because that's what the reflecting part is. So that you know what you're forgiving yourself for. So that you know what your wrongs are and how you can correct them. Forgive yourself. Now this is the part where we try to move on. Try to move on, let go, and let God. Another part of this let go and letting God part that you also need to do, and this is part of point number 3, is to make sure that you celebrate your wins. Even if you didn't accomplish anything in 2024, well, let's start saying 2025. So excited. Even if you didn't accomplish anything in 2025, see, even if you didn't accomplish anything in 2024, you lived, you made it through the year. There's something you must have done. You woke up and brushed your teeth, celebrate that win. I feel like a lot of the times we underestimate how those small wins make such a big difference in the overall goal. And this is not the brush I intended to use, but I couldn't see. Anyway, but I will use it anyway. So celebrate your wins. Treat yourself to something nice. Don't go too crazy now, but celebrate your wins. Now, be careful with celebrating your wins, because I feel like sometimes, at least for me, I take it too far when I'm celebrating my wins. It's actually one of I'm a big believer in treat yourself. But I've taken it too far. I am not a dog. There's no reason why I need to treat myself every 2 seconds. But so manage yourself according to your size. Treat yourself, celebrate your wins, but do it with sense. That would be my 3rd point. Now, this 4th thing, I feel like we hear it all the time, but I think because we hear it all the time, we've become almost so numb to the idea of how important it is. And you're gonna be mad that I'm saying it because you've heard it a million times. If you Google anything about goal setting, one thing that's going to be in common, one thing that you're gonna find out from the Google Schmoogle is to set a SMART goal. We hear it all the time, but you need to set a SMART goal. And while you're setting your SMART goal, right? One thing that I want you to keep in the back of your head is your why. Your why that we thought about a few steps before. You need to reassess. You need to think about your why while you're writing down or creating your SMART goals. Now, the acronym is very different depending on which part of the world you're from or which school you went to. If you take any civics and careers course, you probably would have encountered a SMART goal. For me, I know it as specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and timely. That's what I know it as. It could be different for you, but the gist of it is still the same thing. Your goals need to be specific. Your goals need to be measurable. Your goals need to be attainable. You need to consider all these things. And while you're considering these SMART goals, the overall arch of it should consider your why you're even doing this thing. Why is this goal so important to you? Why is it so important that it needs to be specific? Why is it so important that it needs to be measurable? Perhaps you're starting a business and it is so important for you to be specific with what your business plan is because it aligns with your purpose. Maybe in that same business plan that you're creating and that you're setting as your goal, perhaps, you need to launch it because there's a bank loan you need to apply for, and you need to apply for the loan by a certain time. So there needs to be a time aspect for it. It needs to be attainable, as in the bank. You have to be able to go to the bank and you have to be a creditable person. Is that the right word? Bank has to be able to give you credit. If your credit score is in the ones, come on, it has to be reasonable here. And I joke, but sometimes I feel like sometimes we come up with goals, and this is why I'm telling you to think about your why. And we don't think about our whys, and we don't use SMART goals. So then we end up failing because we're not thinking about all these things. Okay? So think about all of it. Now you've done the things. You're like, what's next? You've rewritten your goals. You've reflected on your goals. Now you forgave yourself. You treated yourself maybe. And now you've written down your SMART goals. Now you're like, Philomena, next year is in a few days. What should I do? Step number 5 is like the biggest part, is the part that we all like struggle with, and I feel like it's a part that we never account for in goal setting, is to do a trial run on your goals. And I believe that this is the perfect time to do that. You don't have to wait till 2025. Because you know what sucks than having a trial run on the actual race day? When you fail, you feel like you've dropped the ball on everything. This is why between now, that little awkward moment where nobody knows what day it is between the December 25th to till New Year's, where you don't know, you're not waking up at the same time, you're sleeping and you're doing all the time. This is the perfect time to give yourself a trial run. Look, the trial run doesn't really need to take that long. Sometimes it's just testing yourself on little things that you have set in the goal. So I use the weight loss thing as an example, and I've even used the business plan thing as an example. As I'm recording this, it is December 13th, and I feel like I'm gonna probably put this out still within 2024. In between that awkward time, this is the perfect time to do a trial run. So what I mean by a trial run, a lot of the goals that we have set usually require us to implement daily routines and make daily decisions that will push us to the end of the line, or whatever the goal is. Maybe it's saving 10K by the end of next year. This is the time to reassess your budget. Everybody spends in December. I don't care who you are. December is like one of those months where your expenses are higher. It may not be because you impulsively shop, but sometimes it's because you live in a cold climate and the heating bill is going to be up. December, everybody spends. This is the perfect time to reassess your budget. You're at home. You're not doing anything. This is your perfect trial run. See what you can even save in December. See if like maybe you had, I'm going to save $500 every month in next year. Can you even save $500 this month? Is that even feasible for this month when this is one of the most difficult and trying times of the year? This is the perfect time to try and fail and reassess. It's a short period of time, so you feel like you can't do a lot, but it's the perfect time to implement a new routine. Maybe you want to become a 5 a.m. gym babe. This is the perfect time when you don't know what day it is to set a decent nighttime routine and start waking up early. Start waking up at 7 a.m., then change that time to 6 a.m. and make incremental changes. This is the perfect time to do that. So this is the time to implement your trial run. An example of this will be with budgeting specifically. I feel like a lot of people, and I'm not judging anybody because I'm like that right now. And you would think, Philomena, you're a whole ass CPA. Why are you like this? I am one of those people who doesn't know how much is coming in and out of our bank account on any given month. I have an idea, but I really truly don't know. Because of that, I have put myself in a situation where I am living paycheck to paycheck, and there's no reason why I should be with what comes in and what comes out. There really shouldn't be that way. But because I don't have a budget. I don't have a specific budget. Let me say that. I have like an overall, like a rough budget, but I don't have a specific budget. Now, I feel like a lot of the times when people are making financial goals or goals in general, we get caught in the social media idea of having this pretty perfect planner, this pretty perfect Excel that looks pretty. As somebody who uses Excel every day, I'm here to tell you, you don't need that. Sometimes you just need to write this down in your notebook. Maybe you need an Excel, but it doesn't need to be a complex thing. Now, if you're the kind of person who doesn't even use Excel on their day-to-day basis, who doesn't even know how to use Excel or Google Sheets or whatever platform or app you're using, what makes you think that you're going to stick with it in the upcoming years if this is something you don't use on your day-to-day basis? As somebody who uses Excel right now, I'm gonna tell you this for free. There was a time where I didn't know how to use Excel. In that time, if you gave me Excel to use to plan or budget with, I will touch it for like 2 seconds and I will close it because it's so frustrating to learn something while you're trying to accomplish or reach new, where you're trying to do so many new things. I hope this makes sense. So use this time as a trial run. For a lot of people, your goal setting is going to your daily routine is going to make and break how you accomplish your goals. This is the perfect time to have a daily routine. To practice your daily routine. I cannot stress that enough. For me, I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm off actually. Today's is my last day until next year. And I am privileged. I'm speaking from a place of privilege that I have that time. I have like the next 2 weeks to figure it out and to set up a good routine for the next year. Even if it's just 2 days that you have off, I strongly suggest you really take that time to do a trial run on what your day-to-day is going to look like. See if it's going to work and then adjust accordingly. those are the 5 things I want you to consider. So I'm going to just do a simple run through of what we've talked about. We've talked about rewriting your goals from last year. The ones that you didn't accomplish, the ones that you did accomplish. We spoke about reflecting on the goals that you accomplished and reflecting specifically on the goals that you didn't accomplish. And then we talked about forgiving yourself, because we need to do that. It's not every day we have to suffer and punish ourselves. Sometimes we can be happy. And then we talked about the infamous SMART goals, the ones that nobody wants to hear, but the ones that we need to do. We talked about the SMART goals. And then we talked about implementing a trial run. This is the perfect time. The risk is very low. Around this time, people are gonna go to the gym. I'm not gonna lie, because people are doing the winter arc thing. If you didn't do the winter arc, it's okay. Winter, people keep thinking that winter ends in December. For the climate you live in, winter can go as far into what's it called, March and April. So even if you didn't even start your winter arc, it's okay. Relax. It's not that deep. It's deep, but it's not that deep. Another thing that I didn't talk about, this might be a bonus thing that you should really consider. Actually, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking about it now, is that you need to make your goals deep. Your goals need to be that deep. I'm speaking to myself, because I'm even looking at the viewfinder. I'm speaking to myself. Your goals need to be that deep, because a lot of the times I will have goals, but they're very frivolous things. They're things that don't have any meaning, which is why it actually goes back to, your why. Sometimes it needs to be a little bit deep. Just a little bit deep. This way you can give yourself that little oomph that you need when you don't accomplish your goals. I'm going to be journeying through some of my goals on this channel. I hope that you join me in that. And as I'm getting ready for my makeup, I wanted to remind you guys, or tell you guys something. I'm actually getting ready to film a YouTube video that me and my bestie have been talking about since 2016. I say this to say that it really doesn't, not that it doesn't matter, because I do think that it does. I think time matters. How you break it, I think timing matters, and I think the element of time and when you start things matter. But I want to put this into perspective. That 2016, that's almost 9 years ago that we've been talking about doing this, filming this, being consistent, I should at least say, or even creating a YouTube channel together. And we've been talking about it, and we try and we fail. I go to school, I move out of the province for a bit, things happen, life happens, and here we are, it's 2024, and we're now sitting down again to try to do this thing that we both want to do again. And I feel like we haven't given up on it, because our why is very important. If you didn't accomplish something from last year, I'm literally redoing something and rewriting and reaffirming and just redoing something that I set aside to do in 2020. In 2016, we're now in the 2020s, that's from the 2010s to the 20 teens, I should say, to the 2020s. That's crazy. Kids have been born and are now talking back since then. So I say that to say that I hope that acts as some level or some degree of inspiration, and not to so that you don't feel bad on yourself. You don't feel down on yourself. Is that the right terminology? That you don't basically shit on yourself. I didn't mean to curse. Or you don't feel bad about yourself for the fact that you didn't accomplish something last year. That's okay. Sometimes people take a long time to get things started. And what's that saying? It's not the setback, but the comeback that matters. And I really want to reiterate that, because yeah, you had setbacks, but the setback is not going to be your story. If you give up, that's completely different. If you give up, then that's the conclusion of your story. But if you keep going, then you're building character here. The story is the way that the story is going to end is going to be more robust. It's going to have more character. It's going to have more drama. Okay, so this is your sign, honestly, to not give up. If you're watching this and you've come this far, if you got something from the video, thank you so much for taking your time to watch the video. If you got something from it, I hope that you like it. I hope that you share it. And I hope that I get your opinions actually in the comment section. Give me some goals that you set aside in 2024 that you're finding that you have to carry forward into the new year. Let me know. I'm so curious to know what people's goals are, because I'm only so used to hearing about my goals and the goals of the people who are around me and I'm surrounded by. And a lot of the times you end up sharing a lot of the same goals with the people that you're around, but sometimes it can be vastly different. So I'm just curious to hear what goals you guys are carrying forward into 2025. Yeah, get down in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Bye.